and this is round 3 of me trying to design a heart to go in a purple heart lamp. I said I needed to get some more wood. I got more wood. The last board I had was a 1x4, or it was a true 4 inches, so I don't know what they call that. But I went and bought 1x6s, which are a true 5.5 inches. I'm going to use this bigger wood because this is the size that the lamp is going to be, or pretty closer to it anyway. And I don't know if 4 layers thick is going to be enough to get the shape that I'm looking for, or if maybe I might have to go with 5 layers thick. We're gonna learn that today. And I say today, remember before I was using paper and good old Elmer's to glue the boards together. Well, I went out and I got some CA glue so that we can actually do this today and not have to wait another day. If you combine that with some Instaset, you can even speed up the process more. And if you want to save money, you can buy Instaset in a big bottle and refill your sprayer. So that's what we're going to do today. I think we're going to turn this heart today, but I do have some questions as to how it's going to turn out, and which 2 of the 4 pieces are going to actually be the shape that I want them to be. Is it going to be the inside pieces, or is it going to be the outside pieces? That's what we're going to find out today. I thought I would show you my gluing process. This CA glue, this stuff will not let go. So I think if you put on too much of it, you're never going to get the 2 boards apart. So I'm just going to make an S with it. I don't know if that's the best amount to use. We'll find out. I've got my Instaset accelerator. I'll just spray that on here. I'll put the 2 boards together and press. There, press down. It should, there, they're bonded. And that's what we're going to do for the rest of them. In addition to the CA glue, I'm going to put some of this masking tape on here in a couple spots, just to make sure I've got a little something extra to hold it. And then also, if it does come apart, the masking tape will keep it from going flying. This tape seems kind of weak, and you just saw it tear it. But when I put this on the ends of the wires to run them through the lamp pipe in the middle of the lamps, I have to use a knife to get this tape off. I cannot get it off with my fingers. So I'm hoping that it'll add some strength to this. I guess I could put some more down here, but some of this is obviously going to get carved off. I don't know how much of this is going to remain. Maybe I could put some back after I carve in certain areas, you know, because I'm going to carve down here, and this tape will be gone, and then I can carve up here. I don't know, maybe I should have put it at the very end down here, but it's just some extra insurance anyway. And we'll mount this. Before I do mount this, I just want to point something out. If you were thinking about using this CA glue to actually hold your woodworking together, you do lose something with it. These boards have a little bit of warpage to them, and you know, because I'm using the CA glue with the Instaset, there's no time to clamp it. It bonds before you can clamp, and you can see it left some gaps in there. I don't think that's going to matter for what I'm doing here, but if you were putting together furniture or putting together, like if you were going to leave this together and this was going to be your turnstock, maybe if you just didn't use the Insta-set, you could hurry up and throw a clamp on there, but the amount of time it takes to cure before you could get a clamp on there. Just something to think about. So I started turning it. It's going pretty smooth. I've got I can't tell you what speed the lathe is turning at. I've got it on speed 2, which is the faster speed than I usually turn wood this big. But I think with the amount of air that I'm getting in between, having the higher speed is actually making the cut smoother. It's going smooth enough. I'm not going to worry about replacing the tape over and over again as I keep cutting it off. What I'm going to do is, one, I'm going to put a tenon down here, and then I'm just going to turn something similar in shape to this. I'm going to taper this down. I'm going to taper it so that this piece, remember I talked about this being the waste wood down here, but I want to taper this piece all the way down too, just in case I want to use this piece. And I could throw a bead on there too, I guess. And then after I get this tapered down, that's when I'll come back. Hi, I'm back. I've got this rounded off. I didn't bother to do anything down here, but I really like this shape. Even though I'm trying to make a heart, in the process I've discovered something that I like, and I think I might put this shape into a lamp in the future, and it would be really easy to do. All I have to do is glue 4 of these 1-inch boards together, or I've got some. This is some white oak. Look at right here. This right here. This is 2-inch rough sawed white oak. You know, if I rip that in half, you glue the 2 halves together, and I could make all kinds of 2-dimensional shapes like that. And with it being 2-inch rough sawed, it would be a little bit thicker than this, but a little thicker wouldn't hurt. I might do that. But now it's time to try and pull these apart. I did have one of them fly off. In the process, I was playing around with the skew, trying different angles and stuff, and I got a catch. And actually it broke in half. But with the CA glue, you know, you're back to work in about 1 minute. So it was pretty much a non-event. Of course, I wouldn't want to have a crack in my wood if I were actually planning to use this for something, but this is just a learning tool. So I'm not sure what the best way to get these apart is. I think I'm gonna come from down here, because this is wood I plan to take. You know, I plan to gouge this out anyway. Let me just. It's stuck on there pretty good. And the thing is, by putting the screwdriver in there, you damage it. So that's why I'm doing it down here where I'm going to be carving, but there it goes. Alright, so that's the shape that I have so far. You can I think I'm gonna move on to the next board because that's gonna take more to undo. These two boards go all the way back here, so I'm gonna have to try and crack those from the other side. But I might also have to do them from underneath. See, that's not going in the right spot. There it goes. Alright. Now, you can see what I have there. I mean, that's almost a heart right there. Well, that's what we already went over. That's why we're gonna flip it inside out. I kind of like that because this is skiddier and this is fatter down here. Well, that's what I'm going for in the lamp anyway. So, got this flipped over. I think that's separated on that end. Let me just come down here. I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna do the other side and then I'll pull it out. There. I think it might be separated now, but the lathe is holding it together. Let's see. Yep. So, I think this part I can leave glued together. We're just gonna flip this around. Oh, see, now I wasn't thinking about that. If I leave that glued together, then what, I put those in there like if I'd have thought of that, I could have just left it together in the first place. See? Look at that. I didn't have to separate those. I'll just glue that back on like it was. And then, yeah. I was going to put this on the outside, but you know, I think it's going to turn better if I put it right back how it was. So that's how I'm going to do it. I shouldn't have taken these off. I'm just going to put these together how they originally were and just glue it like this. I'll show you when I come back. Alright, I'm back. I've got the piece glued together, and in the process I made a couple of observations. One, if I had carved out the center, well, the center's out here, of the pieces before flipping them inside out, I could actually be done at this point. Because remember, yesterday, or in part 2, when I carved out the center was carved all the way down to here. It was the outside that, here it is right here. See, the center is carved way out, but it's the outside that's shaped like this. So if I had carved this out of the old center of this, then we would have a heart shape on the outside of this. But I didn't do that because I was planning on flipping around and flipping it around again. But maybe it's better this way though too, because you know, this is rounded this way. I mean, I suppose now that it's inside out, I could round it again. Maybe I will. But I don't think so. And here's why. Oh, before I get there, the other advantage of leaving it inside out is you get this kind of cool, you get this little hole here. But the other observation was, remember I made a tenon? Well, the tenon's inside out. I can't use it. So, I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. Maybe I'll just cut this tenon off and make another tenon here. I should have ground it down some, but I shouldn't have made a full tenon before. I should have left it alone. But I have all this wood here. I can make another tenon. So to find center on this, because it's kind of an odd shape, well, we already know that this line is on center, and we know that this is centered. So all I'm going to do is take this square and put my pencil right in the middle of that hole there, and helps if I can, there, hold that on there, and draw this line, and that'll be my center. Do the same thing on this side. See, because I used the super glue and the Instaset, I didn't get these to line up perfectly. So center on this side is going to have to be halfway in between this hole and this hole, because it's set up before I got it in position. So just going to see, we're a little on the right side of the one side of this hole, and we're a little on the other side of that hole. So we'll draw our line like that, and we'll have to call that center. And I don't need to show you making the tenon. I'm just going to make the tenon. I'm going to mount it in the chuck, and then, you know, I'll carve this out, and then I'll come back. Alright, so I've got the new tenon on there. I did a little carving on this part here that's not going to be part of the heart. I just wanted to see how it looks. I really like the way this shape is in here. I'm definitely going to use this experience as food for thought on some future designs that have nothing to do with hearts. And it's going to be interesting to see what this looks like when I flip it back around and turn it right side out again. I was tempted to do some carving here, but I don't really want to mess around with what the heart is. But now I'm going to get it mounted, and I'm going to carve out the center of this. Okay, so I've got this loosely mounted in the chuck, and you saw me when I drilled the lamp, how I centered the lamp based on my tool rest, but we're not going to be able to do that with this because this isn't round. So there's no point where I can put this by the tool rest and turn it to see how it goes. But I do have center marked on the end here, so all I'm going to do is put the tailstock in. I can put a little pressure to make sure it didn't come out of the chuck a little bit when I tighten it down. Now I've loosened it back up, and we can spin this around, and you can see it stays centered pretty good. Let me just tighten that a little bit. What did I do there? There we go. You have to put a little pressure down when you tighten that. You know, second time using it, so maybe I'll just turn this on with the tailstock still there. I can actually begin carving with the tailstock, but the tailstock is going to have to come out in order for me to get to the center of that. So now I'm going to carve the center out, and then I'll come back when that's done. Alright, so here's the moment of truth. I've got I've got the hole carved out. I didn't quite get the shape I wanted to get. It was kind of hard to carve it. I got more of a cone shape. I guess I could have cleaned that up a little bit, but I wasn't trying to make it smooth. I got more of a cone shape where I was trying to get more of a, you know, like this. Follow this curve, but we'll see what happens. Maybe when I flip it around, I'm going to have to clean this line off anyway. So let's pry these two pieces apart. Where my big fat screwdriver went? There it is. So now I'm going to try prying from this end. This is the part that I don't need. Hopefully the whole thing will come apart. Oh, I see that came off. Well, that's alright. Remember, I am trying to separate all of these. Just there. I'm definitely going to have to turn it again. Of course, there's no place to put a tailstock on this end now, so now I don't have a tenon again. Maybe I have to... I don't know what to do about that. So that piece broke, but there it is. That's definitely a heart. If I put that on there, maybe. So that's a heart, and that's a heart. I don't think the centerpieces are going to be hearts, but well, I definitely do want to round that over, though. I'm not sure. Oh, you know what? This is going to be the waist, so I can just stick that tailstock right in there, and then same thing on this side. I don't even have to bother gluing this back on. I'll just stick my drive center in there, and I'll put my live center in there, and then I can clean this up. Okay, so here's where we're at now. I took the two pieces that I said I didn't need to turn. I glued them back on, and they're actually the opposite direction, facing the opposite direction of these two, because there's a little bit of a curve already going around here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the tenon again on this part. There's going to be a gap in it, but the chuck will grab onto it anyway. I'm going to take this little bitty neck I have going on here and extend it out a little bit, and then I'm going to mount this in the chuck again. I'm going to smooth out this line. I don't know if you can see that from your angle. I don't think you can. There's I don't know how well I showed you that already in the previous clip. This line, I want to get rid of this line here, and then here I need to make a flat spot, because remember, when I make a lamp, this heart is going to go in the middle of the lamp. So there's going to be a neck down here where I attach wood, and then there's going to be another one here where I attach more wood, and then the heart is going to be in the middle. I'll show you the drawing I have after I get this carved. Okay, I started to clean this up while it was in between the two stocks, rather than just mounting it as soon as I got the tenon done. But I wanted to take a minute to show you the tenon before I put it in the chuck. You can see there's a big gap, and that's what I was telling you about a minute ago. But because I turned it, the curvature on here will match the curvature of these jaws. So when I put it in here, it should get a pretty good grip on it. I just want to turn it so that the high points hit about in the middle of the jaws. There we go. Now, see, I should have left that loose. We can put the tailstock in. Now we can tighten this. And I have to be careful to get this all the way in there every time. That's why it slips. I don't get it in all the way. There. Now I think I might have just a little bit more I can do here before I pull the tailstock out. But I really do need to get the tailstock out of the way so that I can turn in the middle of that. I just have a little bit to go to soften this line, and then this part will be done. One thing I was considering doing is just using this 1 1/4 inch spade bit and mounting it in my drill chuck in the tailstock, and just hitting it with that. Then I could get a short, perfectly flat spot. But I think I can get the same results with this little skew. I'll get started with the skew, and if I'm not happy with how it's turning out, then I'll switch over to the spade bit. Now all I'm turning as I turn this is just this high point here and this high point here. So I have to be really gentle with how I put the tool in here so that I don't shove it into this empty void. And it might actually work better if I speed this up a little bit. Sharp. Yeah, it's going kind of slow, all that end grain. But I am making a circle. Of course, I'm making it bigger than the spade bit. That's not the bait. Okay, so this is the template I made for the lamp I'm trying to make, and I decided to get the template out because I wanted to see how wide this was, and it turns out this is 1 inch here, and I was making the slot in here wider than 1 inch. My skew is 1/2 inch, so it's kind of hard to make a slot that's exactly the size you want with a skew that's half the size of the hole you're trying to make, which means you can't move it. You have to, I mean, I guess I could stick it right there dead center and just hold it there, but I think that the spade bit will be easier. So that's what I'm going to do. I've got this locked down. I'm just going to crank it with the wheel, and we'll just put a little indentation in there. You know, in hindsight, that was a lot faster than the skew, and I was even going way slower than I needed to at first. That worked great. I still have some rounding out to do here, but now that I have that hole there, I know where I'm at. So we'll get the tool rest back in the game here. And I'll just round this off a little bit more. I made this flat with the skew. This was pointed up before, but that's the reason that I made it flat is because it's the only way to round this. Maybe I should bring it in a little bit, but if I do that, that's going to make a ridge here and here. I don't know if I want that or not. Well, I'll just carve a little bit and we'll see what we get. Okay, I'm not going to fully sand this, but I've finished the carve. Just going to unscrew this whole thing from the lathe so that you can see what I've got. I want to leave it in the chuck. I'm not ready to take it out yet, but I want you to see what I have on the top. If I were actually going to finish this, I would have sanded this part. I would have sanded this part right here when I had, before I turned it back around, right side out, inside out, whatever you want to call it. I would have sanded this, but you can't sand this now because I already flipped it around. But you can see the shape that I have here. You know, it looks like a nice heart from this way, but I've got these kind of two lines coming across here. I mean, that's not so bad, but and this is kind of pointy. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put this back on here. I'm going to finish my shaping, not with the lathe, but you know, one of the easiest things to sand with sandpaper is a point. So, see, look at that. I've already eliminated that point there. there's a little bit of a ledge. See, that I just softened that up. Doesn't take much to get rid of a harsh line with a little piece of sandpaper. And even this I can kind of clean up a little bit. You know what else? I could get if I had a half round file that was kind of about 1 inch wide, that would go good in there, but I don't have one of those. But or a drum sander would be good. But like I said, I'm not planning on completely finishing this, but I do want to get the shape. I want to get the shape down, even if I don't get the finish down. There we go. Now, yeah, see, I didn't even shape all that there in the neck the way I want, but that's pretty much it. I could cut that off, and this is a little bit narrower than this heart. Because remember, this was only 5.5 inches to begin with, where this will probably be about 6.25 inches. But it's a lot closer to what the actual size is going to be than this thing. So there you have it. I've successfully made a heart. I know I can make the lamp now, but since I bought all of that wood over there, I might go ahead and make another one of these hearts just for a little bit of practice. So this is what I'm going to make the purple heart out of. This is purple heart. It's a Central or South American exotic wood, and it's purple. They say it'll turn a dark brownish purple once it's exposed to the light, which if it's a lamp, it's definitely going to get exposed and get darker, which is a lot better than getting lighter with age. And this is just your regular old ash. It's what they make baseball bats out of. So it's a good hardwood, not likely to get dents, which I doubt a lamp like this would get dented anyway, because it's not going to, people aren't going to have that around kids. But so now you can see why I have the two colors on my drawing here, and see the two woods together. I'm probably going to have to use almost this entire board to make the purple heart lamp, but I think it'll be worth it. This is $20 for this one board. So that's the reason too for all the practice. If I had started working with the purple heart, then I would have wasted it, and then I'd have to drive up to the store an hour away and get a new wood. But I think this one turned out pretty good. I am pretty happy with it. If I had actually taken the time to get this, I'm happy with the shape. That's what I was mostly focused on. If I would have taken the time to get the details right, to get the surface right, instead of just kind of rushing through and skipping the steps, this heart would have turned out ready. I mean, I could have made a pine lamp with a heart in it, and this would have looked good in there. So I'm definitely happy with that. One thing I want to say, probably for the final glue up, I would go ahead and use the wood glue instead of the CA glue. And the reason is, the CA glue, you can't clamp it. And you see I have this little gap in there. I could have pulled that gap out with some clamps, but there's just not time for that with the CA glue. But if I had used wood glue to make this, all of the different glue and re-glue that happened and a couple of times that I broke it or whatever, it would have taken me a week to make this, because I would have had to glue and then wait and then glue, and every time I glued it would have been 24 hours. And maybe I should have remembered, because of what happened in part 1 of the series when the wood fell apart, it was still wet in there after one day, so probably 2 days. So it would have at least taken me a week to do what I just did in this one day using CA glue. But really, I think you would get a higher quality product if you did take 2 days to make this, or maybe 3 days if you want to let the glue dry for 2 days. But it might not be necessary without the paper. The final glue, you're not going to put the paper in or use CA glue. You're going to just glue it and clamp it permanently. So maybe 1 day would be enough for that, because the wood will absorb. And you won't have 2 layers of glue. Remember, with the paper, I put the glue, I put the paper, I put more glue. Well, that meant that there was a lot more glue in there than what you would normally have, because the paper is not enough to absorb all that moisture from the glue. Where if you just have 2 layers of wood together, I've always considered 24 hours to be enough to glue. I was really surprised when I saw that moisture in there after 1 day. But so I'll say you should really take 2 days to make this, and then the final glue should be with some sort of wood glue that you can clamp and get a good, look at, let me get this down so you can see what I'm talking about. Probably. Alright, so you see this crack here? Watch. See, I can make it half as thick just by squeezing it with my hand. See, if I'd have had regular glue in there, I could have squeezed all that out. What you're hearing there is my clamp. Open her up too far. There, see, I just eliminated 3/4 of that crack by putting the clamp on there. And the other thing, I didn't show you guys this, but in between when I was flipping it around, that super glue, the CA glue, was putting huge amounts of like beads on the wood, and it's just like plastic. So when you try to put the wood together, it didn't want to sit flat when you re-flipped it around and you were gluing on a surface that was already glued. So I took the belt sander and sanded some of that glue off, and you can see how white this belt sander belt is. That's all that CA glue that was in there. So another thing I can do to make this to make this smoother is, in between, I can spend a little more time and be a little bit more careful with the belt sander and get that CA glue off, and then put the wood glue on and then clamp it and then come back the next day to clean it up. So that's how I'm going to make this better. I wanted to make this fast today so that I could get through all of the steps and know what I'm doing. And once again, I'm very happy with how this turned out, and I think someone's going to be very happy to purchase my Purple Heart lamp. And you guys have a great day.